Chris, what is our fifth main topic today?
This is from Kevin Morales. Hello, John, Rob, and crew. I just finished watching your Batman spoiler talk. Well done. I loved the movie and was personally not surprised that according to Rotten Tomatoes, the Batman is due to make an estimated $120 million. As I understand it, they predicted it to maybe come in a little higher. This almost certainly confirms a sequel if one already wasn't in the works. Thanks and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, it did better than that. The Sunday estimates came out. And by the way, a lot of people still confuse this because we were in the middle of doing the Batman open spoiler discussion yesterday, and the Sunday the box office report came out, and some people were saying, because I think it said $128 million at the time, and people said that doesn't even include Sunday, and I was like, yes, it does include Sunday. To which people always say, how can it possibly include Sunday? It's still Sunday. So the way the box office report happens is that on Sunday they put out the weekend report, taking the Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday actual numbers. And then from those numbers, they're able to, usually with insane accuracy, kind of forecast what Sunday's numbers will be. And then they make their weekend box office report. And then on Monday, what's called the actuals come out, where it adjusts. Now, 90% of the time, the estimate that comes out on box office on Sundays is 90% of the time is actually right on the money. And then it's always usually within 5, 6, 7%. So the actual numbers have come out now. And the actual numbers for the Batman is $134 million it made opening weekend. So way over the 80 that Forbes was forecasting. 16 under my overly optimistic projection of and hope of 150. Rob, I can't remember where you came in.
I think I said it was 150 or less, like with you.
Yeah, I actually think you got closer than that. I said once, I think you got closer to
Maybe.
it than I did.
I mean, you know, the movie is 3 hours long.
Yeah,
And
well, we're going to talk about that. I
Yeah.
want to talk about that for a second. Because this number to me of 134 is absolutely remarkable. It's and because I want us to go back and take a look at something that we forget, but we need to go over for a second into the Campea classroom, even if just for a minute, even if just for a moment. And because with going into the movie, we talked about this a couple of times up to a month before Batman came out, which was, you know, the conversation was, can the Batman be as big as Spider-Man? To which we all said, it absolutely cannot. They cannot be as big as Spider-Man was. There are just too many things working against it. There were too many things working for Spider-Man to its advantage, and there are just far too many things working against Batman. And one of the first things that we said going into why the Batman can't be is Batman doesn't have the best rep right now. Like the reality is this: as much as I love Batman versus Superman, and I liked Batman and Justice League, and I like all the DCEU films other than Birds of Prey personally, the reality is these movies have all been incredibly divisive. And it's left the idea where even the DCEU brand is a little cloudy right now. And the audience has been very divided on what they even think about Batman or anything like that right now. So that was working against it. Secondly, this is a dark movie. And, you know, Rob, you pointed out many times leading up to the Batman, it's like, look, this is not the same thing as like Spider-Man, where people are going to be bringing the kids and bringing their families. They're going to look at this and say, this might be one. Like, I have several friends who said, we might bring Junior along to see it, but we're going to go see it ourselves first. And I have a feeling, I haven't talked to them since, but I have a feeling after seeing it first, they're probably not going to bring Junior to go see it. So it's a much darker kind of movie, and that was going to work against it. On top of that, there's some Batman confusion right now. We just talked about how with Keanu Reeves, granted Keanu Reeves is a separate kind of issue, but there are going to be 4 Batmen this year. On top of all that, there is still some confusion about the DC and DCEU difference. Like, wait a minute, but Ben Affleck is Batman, and this is yet another incarnation of Batman, right? We've been talking about this a whole bunch about like thing after thing after thing about all these things that are stacking up against Batman that is going to make it far more challenging for it to make, big box office money. And there was a lot of things stacked against and a lot of things worked against. We talked about this ad nauseum leading into the film. When you take all that into consideration and you look at this movie making $134 million, which is, take out Spider-Man No Way Home, is the biggest opening weekend box office since 2019. It outdrew Black Widow and it outdrew Venom, which did very, very well. It outdrew The Fast and the Furious. It outdrew everything since 2019. I want to point this out too. This is kind of an R-rated film, even though it got the PG-13. It really is kind of an R-rated film. This movie made more money opening weekend than Deadpool did in its opening weekend. Not by much. Not by a ton. But one other thing to point out here is that Batman made $134 million when roughly 25% of the movie-going audience has not yet come back to theaters. We talked a little while ago about that big report and study that Variety put out that said 50% of moviegoers who were going to movies on a regular or semi-regular basis before the pandemic had not yet started coming back to the movies yet. Now, that number dropped once Spider-Man came out, and now they're saying it's really closer to about 25%. But think about this. The Batman, with all these things working against it, still ended up being the second biggest opening weekend since 2019, despite the fact that right now about 25% of moviegoers still haven't even started coming back to the movies yet. Does it come close to the Spider-Man thing? No. But like you were pointing out, Chris, the Spider-Man not only didn't face these huge drawbacks that the Batman was facing, it had some huge advantages. It had the big nostalgia factor figuring it. It was the third film of a beloved franchise going in. It was coming off of strength from strength to strength to strength. Not like this Batman coming off of some divided results. And then you had the return of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, which everybody knew for a year was going to be happening.
The worst kept secret.
Yeah. And again, that doesn't diminish the remarkable results of Spider-Man No Way Home, far exceeding any expectation, including my own. It doesn't diminish that at all. But I'm just saying, when you look at these situations and you look at this context, the only way you can look at the results of Batman making $134 million opening weekend and claim it to be anything other than a major triumph, then you're coming at it with a predetermined agenda. Anybody who tells you that this is not a remarkable result is coming at it with a predetermined agenda. That's just the way it is. Now, not only that, but this movie is now made worldwide in its opening volley, almost $250 million worldwide. It's already exceeded its production budget, an expensive production budget of, I believe, around $200 million. So this movie still has to make a lot of money to be profitable. But this thing already exceeded its hefty production budget on its first weekend.
And it's going to open in China.
And at some point, it's going to get a China opening, which is going to... Now, Batman has never been massive in China, but still, it's going to buoy it a little bit. So again, I think no matter which way you cut it, this is a absolutely fantastic result for this movie. Rob, you're seeing this result. They're now saying that the weekend number was $134 million. Other than Spider-Man, the biggest we've had since 2019. How should Warner Brothers look at the results here?
I think it's an epic win. I mean, it's for this film, for being 3 hours long, for being very adult in nature, I think it's a huge win. And it shows the resilience of the character. And I think that this is the kind of movie people are buzzing about, people are talking about. It did its job. Toby Emmerich coming out going, look, we're going to now give filmmakers, auteurs, writer-directors. Todd Phillips did the same thing with Joker, and that became a $1 billion grossing film. This is the kind of return that we want. And it's not reliant on, as he said, this wasn't reliant on a cinematic universe to get people to come see it. It was based on the character and how the character was treated by the filmmakers. And I think that goes a long way. By the way, let's jump over here. I just want to read this off. This comes from the folks of Variety who wrote the following.
Holy ticket sales, Batman. Robert Pattinson's pitch black superhero adventure, The Batman, collected a mighty 128.5 million. Now, this is before the actuals came out, which we now know is actually 134 million. From 4,417 North American theaters in its box office debut, marking the best opening weekend of 2022 by a landslide. More impressively, it's only the second pandemic-era movie to cross the $100 million mark in a single weekend, a feat first achieved by Spider-Man No Way Home and its huge $260 million launch in December. Thanks to positive reviews, strong reception from ticket buyers, and high levels of intrigue to see Pattinson's moody take on the Caped Crusader, The Batman is shaping up to be a commercial winner for Warner Brothers. Other thing to keep in mind, there are a couple of other factors here that are both good and bad for The Batman. Against Batman, it's Warner Brothers pulled the release from Russia. We're not going to get into the geopolitical nature of the world right now, but there's that. That's also affecting movie going a lot. Not to mention, I sound silly to say, but somebody wrote and say, some people are not driving to the movie theaters today because gas is ridiculously expensive. That's true too. But one of the advantages that Batman has right now is that it's got practically nothing opening against it next weekend, this coming weekend. So it bears to have really good legs. But by the way, another thing working against it, Rob, is something you brought up a lot, was the fact that this is a 3-hour movie, which does, of course, limit the number of show times it can get during a day. Also, this isn't just Ray. I've talked to a couple of people that loved this movie, but don't plan on going back to see it because it's a chunky investment. When you add in Nicole Kidman and all the trailers, this is a big chunky investment of time to go to the theaters and watch a movie. So it's got some things working for it. I think we're going to see good second weekend, though. Anyway, Chris, you see these numbers. What stands out to you?
I mean, I think that they did the right thing doing the fan events, loading this up, getting people to spread word of mouth to get people excited and kind of get rid of their own bias towards this film. I think word of mouth has been the best thing for this film. That's why we're seeing these high numbers. People at our fan event, oh my gosh, had seen this so many times. Andy, who was celebrating his birthday, he saw this movie, I think it was his 3rd or 4th viewing by the time he came to hang out with us.
Yeah, we did the fan event on opening day.
Yeah.
The technical opening day. But I only talked to one of the fans there at the fan event who hadn't seen it already.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of crazy.
It was that guy and Logan.
Yeah.
It was just those people who hadn't seen it already. So I think this definitely has legs, and I think we're going to keep seeing this number climb.
An interesting thing, too, and this is more of a part of the long-term thing to do with the Batman, is the fact that whereas Spider-Man has been able to continue to make money over 3 months now, Batman won't. Because they're going to be releasing this on HBO Max in 45 days.
That's very true.
Now, granted, I'm not going to fault Warner Brothers for that because, I mean, the 45-day window is the new norm. 45-day window is now the new norm. You would think they would have shown a little more faith in it because Spider-Man has made well north of $100 million after its first 45 days. So Warner Brothers just seems to be pissing money away, but whatever. So you're not going to get the long kind of legs, even if it has great staying power, which we don't know if it will or not. But even if it did, it's going to get cut off at the knees because it's got the 45-day window. So that's working against it as well.
Man, but I mean, it's not going to stop people who want to watch this from their couch, but this is a movie you want to see on a big screen.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That moment when you see the Batmobile, when you feel the Batmobile in your soul. It's so good. Get off your couch. Go. Don't watch it on HBO.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those movies where if the option is available to you, you got to see it.
I had somewhat of a couch at the fan screening.
That's true.
We had your couch.
Logan died when you got up.
Seats.
He just watches you and then he hits me and he's like, "Is Ray gonna just go lay down in the front?" Like, yes,
and he did. At the fan event, Ray at one point in the movie just got up and walked right to the front row and like stretched out over the seats.
That's the way you watch movies, baby.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? 134 million is the second biggest opening weekend since 2019. And despite all the hurdles that we've talked about over the last couple of months about what the Batman was going to be facing, this is pretty damn impressive. What do you think about it, guys? Whatever your thoughts, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, the good folks at Keeps. Now, look, you guys probably already know that 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're just 35 years old. Now, that's where Keeps comes in, because Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. That means the guys that use it love it. Keeps offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. It's also low cost. Treatments start as low as just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions for the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. That means treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is the key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so the sooner you act, the better. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less with Keeps. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to Keeps, that's KEEPS.com/Campea to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/Campea to get your first month free. Keeps.com/Campea.